And we are live. What is going on, legend? But welcome back to Beyond the 90. Another preview. I'm not going to lie, these are more fun than doing the post matches because they say the same thing every single week. Got Ant with us. Ant, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I agree. The previews where there's all the hope and optimism, but post match is like the depression. So let's have that hope and optimism and get let down again on Thursday.
It's a way to greet everybody to the stream, but no, I'm with you. It's because these are always. I prefer to. The reason why we only did 11 minutes post match because I went. I don't know what to say. I'm just bored.
The thing is, it's bored. It's just the same talking points week after week after week.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we'll try and do a post match, but it'll just be another 10 minutes of me going, same old business, same old Leicester, always losing, always. Anyway, well, let's get into the game. Obviously, there's been the press conference, there's been a few injury updates we need to get into. There's going to be a few formation tweaks as well with a few players that are going to be out for this game. So let's get into it. Good looking at, again, Brendan Rodgers. Again, I'm not a big fan of it, but we're not a big fan of him. But first news, Johnny Evans is still out injured. Yes, he might be around for the game against Wolves, but he will be a miss. I think we were quite lucky against Crystal Palace that that we're gonna that they didn't really come at us. I think Leeds will be a much more of a test.
I think so, and I think with Palace they were quite reserved, and Leeds play one way. Like no matter who they play one way of 110% gun ho, going for it. They did that against Arsenal at Ellen Road at the weekend, and I don't how they didn't get something from that game. I'll never know. So they will come to King Power and work their absolute socks off like they always do, and it'll be their work rate will be relentless. And I think
Mhm.
if we don't match that, like before you even talk about the quality difference or anything like that, you've got to match their work rate.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a stat I've got here. Again, something that I was pinned on to put onto by what's it called? James what's his name? James Orcon. I had James Acaster in my head, wrong guy. About again, this was a couple of weeks ago in terms of the pressures applied. You're looking at again Brendan Aronson, in terms of first, and then you've got Jack Harrison, Sinistera, Tyler like all of the Leeds players. We talk about pressures all around the pitch, and then Christensen kind of bringing up not even the rear, but just the rear compared to everybody else. You look where we are in terms of Yuri Tillemans, Samore, Castagna, Dewsbury Hall. All of these guys are above Dewsbury Hall. I mean, that is just in terms of pressures. We're in for a hell of a game. We're going to be if we can continue like this, and it's not looking great.
No, and I don't think the pressures is something to massively look into because there are times that we sit deep and particularly for was this just for the match week 11? Sorry, this stats, or is this overall for this?
Yes, I think. But again, from what we're used from Leeds, we know what kind of style they
Yeah,
play.
yeah, you know what, like as you say, the style of play is not going to be a surprise to anyone. You know what's coming, and I think
Mhm.
when we've done well against Leeds before, we've almost nullified that. But whether my worry is Brendan Rodgers has got into such a stubborn state over the last, I'd say, year, but he's going to stick with the same way of playing. And if we do that, Leeds are going to have an absolute field day. And as I say that, the bell for my curry has just gone, so I will be
Okay.
2 seconds.
He's gone. He's gone for the curry, so I shall put it back, and then when he's back, I'll let you know. But essentially, we'll keep it to that view because of my green screen's not set up as well as I thought. So in terms of where I think Leicester City are in terms of this game, it's not going to look that great, to be honest. It's not been great all season. I think with the way that Leeds play, we come back to a position that we played, I think, over the pandemic, about this time 2020, I want to say. And we played against, we won 4-1, and it was the Marcelo Bielsa team. Phenomenal play. And the back line, I think you remember, was Luke Thomas at left back, Christian Fuchs at left centre back, Fafana through the middle, James Justin on the right centre back, and Mark Albrighton at that back. That back five completely, again, you're looking at five fullbacks and then one centre back who was like 19 at the time. Like ridiculous. And we managed to come away with the point. It's interesting how at the time we were saying, oh yeah, injuries, and injuries were a massive issue. We come across two years time now, and all of them points all of them players, we've got a stronger team, less injuries, a more well-rounded squad, and we're in a worse position. I'll go through the things that we've got in a bit in terms of the formations, the tactics, and things like that. However, I'm going to look at it and go, we shouldn't be in the position that we are. A and B, people forget how good we were under this manager. Like I was just saying, before you came, if you remember the 4-1 that we won under lockdown at Ellen Road in 2020, with the 4-1 with a back line of what it was with Christian Fuchs in it, James Justin, Marco Brighton right wing back, and Christian, and then Luke Thomas and Fofana. Now you're taking it forward, and we've got a stronger team, and it's still not working.
No, but I agree exactly with what you're saying, man. But that was at the point where Brendan Rodgers, I think, was at his best with Leicester. Confidence was really through the roof, and he was getting the best out of what was there because he willingly adapted the system back then. He's not about now. You can predict week after week after week what the system would be. He played that game to a blinder because we sat deep and were ruthless in the counter attack. At the moment, you just know exactly that he won't adapt how we play. It's just predictable.
So Fox, shout out to Jeff again. He's got a vlog on his channel where he met Ben Foster. Make sure you go check that one out after this video. Really, really good. So really enjoyed that, Jeff. Big up to yourself. And you'll see my comment there, so even more reason to click it. But yeah, awesome stuff there. I think the match was wild, so unexpected. That match in terms of the 4-1, it came out of nowhere. I was so unconfident going into that game. I think especially since the Thursday before we had Europa League. I can't remember who we played, but we could pick a couple of injuries. But I think, well, we'll come into foot again. JJ's put a comment about I think we should flood the midfield. We should get onto that, and I think we've got the personnel and we've got such a strong midfield. We'll get onto that, but we'll bring it back to another player again. James Madison out for this match. It's the first time we've really had to look at it, haven't we, Anne? And this season, and really had to go without our star player. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will. What my fear is he just puts Mark Albrighton on the right, and then we lose all of the creativity.
Yeah, we need. Yeah,
I was going to say that you put Mark Albrighton on the right and match the Leeds work rate, which does need to be matched, as I mentioned before. But if you take Madison out of our team, the creativity is seriously lacking.
Yeah. And with that, again, we'll get into some of the formations and things later on, because I do want to come to it. And I know that we're missing our star man. And I know Yuri Tillman is called the star man, but I think for this game, we will have to see how we adapt without him. James Madison is still a great player, but this is where we have to see some other people turn up and go, right, if he's not playing, here's my opportunity to shine. Who do you think that could be?
I'd like it to be Dennis Pratt, but I can just already see it being either Iosi Perez on the right wing or Mark Albrighton.
See, I've got another suggestion I'll bring up in a bit. However, I think Mark Albrighton is just one of those players that he's a bit part player, and I think you bring him on if you're winning a game 2-3-0. You can just cut Mark Albrighton to settle out the game. I just don't think he's the kind of player to really work.
He's not Premier League quality anymore, and people won't like that enough. He's a club legend and all of that side of it. That will never be taken away. In terms of what he offers you now, and it's been the same case for a couple of years, he's not Premier League quality.
He's not, and he's not looked the same for a couple of years now. So it's not great. Again, some people have got Matt's gone for Pratt at the 10. It's an option. I don't think Pratt's really that number 10, is he?
No, I think he can be, and he's a very technically good player. I wouldn't be against seeing Iheanacho playing that hole in between the striker and the midfield. Almost as that 10. That's why I nicknamed him the 9.5, because he's not that striker and he's not a typical number 10. But I wouldn't be against seeing that.
I wouldn't be again, and we'll get the formation things up earlier as well. Somebody got Perez in the centre. I mean, Perez just in behind. Is he the player that we need? Because against Leeds, it's going to be they're going to bully us, and I think somebody like Perez, it's not the game that he survives.
I don't know, because his work rate, like, say what you want about Perez in terms of his output, his work rate is always up there. But and I think, as I keep saying, that needs to be matched against Leeds. So I don't think it'll be horrendous, but I think there's better options.
Fair enough. And just one thing as well, as you were mentioning, just to get it back up, in terms of changing formation, Brendan Rodgers saying, I haven't thought too much about changing system. That means he's not going to change it, right?
Who knows? Because he'll probably say that and then we'll come out with some formation that no one's ever seen before. I'll take all of his press conferences with a huge pinch of salt now.
Yeah, I'm surprised I analysed them. I'm not going to lie. Because some of the things he says, I'm just like, here we go again. Here we go again. Big up to you, Ryan. Hope you're doing well, mate. Again, yeah, hopefully you guys see us on Shameless where we roast him. But again, it's good fun. Good fun. So shout out to you, Ryan. And you take it well. Some people would not be as good. But appreciate that again. So again, where we are at the moment, apparently he's again not to talk too much about Brendan Rodgers, but he says he's not had a meeting with Kuntop, but I think overall you could see from his face he was not happy, which was good to see him in person and miserable as us, without sounding too horrible. But yeah,
No,
we've got to put up with this for that long.
I know the point you're making, and again, it's something I put on Twitter. He can look as miserable as he wants. There's only one person keeping him, Brendan Rodgers, in power.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Right, I'm going to get on to a formation builder. Again, I've just been doing it briefly. And then we'll go into some of the things around that. So here's my little, what I've got coming into this game. So I've got up top, again, I've got Harvey Barnes. I've got front. I've gone off like a 4-3-3. I've gone for Harvey Barnes, Jamie Vardy, and then Ian Asher, not playing that playing kind of right wing position, but kind of coming into this slot here a little bit more. It's coming in and supporting Vardy up top. Again, I probably should have done it back to front, but I've done it front to back. Is that something you would change?
I think I'd put Iheanacho down the middle, but then I'd have Daka up top. I think he's in much better form than Vardy, and then I think you can always bring Vardy off for that latter stages of the game, but particularly against Leeds, they will play so high up the pitch that there will be room in behind that Daka can exploit.
But that's the exact reason that I thought Vardy, again, when you say running behind or rooming behind, Jamie Vardy's your man.
He was, but I don't think he's got anywhere near that pace that he did before, and I think Daka's a lot quicker than he is now.
I mean, he did take, he did make, Anderson looks, again, the way he spun him was, I was really impressed with that. And we've not seen that speed too often, but I think he just saves it for the right moment.
He does, and what the man who stood behind me at the ground was saying, that, and I agree with it completely, is but Daka's movement is improved so much. And that's something that he will learn from Vardy. Before, he was very static, and then it was almost you chase the ball once it's been passed. Before the ball's even moving now, Daka's starting to make those movements in behind.
Yeah. So it could be an option. Also, because we're playing twice a week now, it could be an option for Jamie Vardy again to switch out a little bit more. Daka is, I think, getting more minutes as of recent. Then I've got for a midfield three. Again, I've dropped Yuri. I've got Pratt, Samore, Dewsbury Hall. So I've got kind of Samore as that lone pivot. I'm not opposed to putting Mendy in there. I've got a little bit of like Samore is potentially the future more than Mendy. So I thought, right, give him a shot. I think the more games he plays, especially in this physicality team, I can see him working. Dennis Pratt and Dewsbury Hall as kind of the two number 8s, both very similar. But I think as a double pivot, I think that could be by a lot of Premier League standards, that could be really underrated.
It could be. I would, if we're going to play those two as a double pivot, though, I think Tielemans has to come in. I think I wouldn't be against seeing Tielemans and Pratt, but Tielemans and Dewsbury Hall as well. I think Dewsbury Hall I've obviously loved as a local lad, and he's done very well when he's broke through the team, but his form has dropped off a cliff. So I think Tielemans, he's got that extra bit of quality that Dewsbury Hall doesn't.
Yeah. Just say as well, Foxwell, Jeff's put in the comment, put Nacho on the right wing and swap Tillemans for Pratt. Again, that's kind of what you were saying. I think pretty much what you were saying in terms of swapping Tillemans for Pratt. To be fair, Tillemans has been playing not too badly, to be honest, but I just want to see this pairing of Dewsbury Hall and Pratt. And I think this might be opportunity to really, because Dennis Pratt scared them. I remember talking to Adonis, the Leeds fan from the Roaring Peacock, and he was going, he played up there, he played in the Nacho position in that match, and he was phenomenal.
The thing is, Dennis Pratt's got all the technical ability in the world, and we see that in the limited minutes he gets given. But I just think Tielemans is just that added bit of quality. So I'd probably say I'd like to see Tielemans and Pratt in the midfield, but you just know Dewsbury Hall will start.
Yeah, I think Dewsbury Hall has become that fan favourite. But again, so would you again? So you got Tielemans, Pratt, and then Samore. Would you change him out for? Are you with me on changing him out for Mendy? Or I think you need that physicality in this game.
I agree. I think Mendy did well when he came on against Palace, but it's a different kind of game. This will be a much more quick-paced game where you need someone who's got that physicality and that aggression to break up play. And I think as useful as Mendy is in some games, this is a game for Samore.
I definitely agree. And also coming into this, and also the ability to drive with the ball. I don't think Leeds will know what happens when he gets the ball and he starts driving. Yes, they'll try and close him down and pressure him, but because of his big stance and physicality, I don't think they won't be ready for Samore. And I don't think they'll exactly know what they're going to get. With Mendy, it's a little bit more predictable.
It is, and it's just against Leeds particularly, it's important to drive up the pitch and not be slow. And I think Samore's got that compared to Mendy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And then so again, I've left, so that could be another 3 again. I'm happily put Dewsbury Hall back in, but kind of all 3 similar to me. Then I think they've mentioned, I don't know if they've mentioned this now, but I don't think he mentioned any update on Charles Sionchu, but I don't think is he injured?
I believe he's got a knee injury, but it's almost irrelevant at this point. He could be completely fit and he won't be playing. But that's the back 4 I'd like to see. Maybe Luke Thomas over James Justin, just because James Justin's form hasn't been great. Give Luke Thomas an opportunity. But that's by the by, they're very, very similar. Sionchu would love to see. I don't think he's just don't think he's ever going to get a look in again, if I'm honest. And then Wout Faes picks himself away, but he's been playing. Castagnier, similarly. I'd still like to see Iverson get given an opportunity, but again, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and in terms of Fast, I think he's been a shining, considering how little he's cost and how much we've got from him. I think he's been really good. And also, again, with Daniel Amate, again, we say Ghanaian excellence, but he's been a walking hazard at times, especially at Crystal Palace. He kind of needs to be dropped. I think in terms of Fast, I think he's just been that quality that we needed, especially in this back line. I'm really hoping we can kind of not build a team around him, but he's a big part of that leadership.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he's only played 3 games, but he's done well within those 3 games. But I think the thing with Amate is, and I know he's got like good progression stats and all of that with his passing, but I think it's almost irrelevant when he gives the ball away in the positions that he does. So like sometimes he'll pass the ball very well forward, but when you look where he gives the ball away at other times, it's just his progression becomes completely irrelevant. But the thing being, credit where it's due, defensively, he did do the basics very well.
He did, but at still time, he did make the mistakes a few times as well, when he had to be bailed out by Fast quite a bit. It's not the worst, but at the same time, it's not Premiership level, as we were saying with Mark Albrighton.
Yeah, I completely agree. Sorry, so I'm scanning down my dinner.
Yeah, I was like, I see you too. I was like, okay, we don't know when he's finished, but that's fine. Do we change out Danny Ward?
Yes. Next question.
I mean, he didn't really have anything to do in the Crystal Palace game. I think he'll be a lot busier in this next game.
No, he did everything he needed to against Palace. He made a couple of saves, one very good save with the Eze shot, but just one good game all season, or well, you could say two if you count Forest. At what point?
He had nothing to do really.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. Didn't think of a save that he really made. It was more Forest missing the target. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. So yes, I'd like to see Iverson given an opportunity. No, Iverson won't be given an opportunity.
Yeah, I think as well with the changing of the back four constantly, you need a solid goalkeeper. And Danny, even what's it called? Ali was absolutely roasting me for it, which fair enough. From Pride South London Fan TV, he goes, "Get Ward out of the team is terrible. We need another keeper." But in terms of what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to do going forward, we need a solid back line. With Evans getting injured, with again, if you're putting Luke Thomas in, I don't think Luke Thomas will come in. I think James Justin will start. But you need that kind of defensive solidity because that's been the main issue. And you can't get defensive solidity if you keep chopping and changing all the time.
You can't, but there's also a level of like chopping and changing, but also playing players that are in form and bringing out players that are out of form. So it's about getting that balance right.
Yeah, definitely agree. Definitely agree. Jake Jackson in the comments. Hope we turn up. Honestly, I can see a draw or loss. Me too, mate. I wish I could say anything, but I think we're in the same position, and I can't see us really winning tomorrow.
Neither can I because game's Thursday, but it's going to be a game that I think we will struggle in. And if Leeds play like they did against Arsenal, I could see them really, really causing us problems. My hope is, though, the pace that we've got on the counter could cause them problems because they are a team that leaves spaces in behind. But it's about them being quick in transition, which is something that we're not.
Yeah, and we are a little bit slow and tedious on the ball, and also we take a lot of shots outside the box. I think this season than seasons previously, we've took a lot more shots from outside the box.
We've taken a lot more shots from everywhere in previous season. Our chance creations just absolutely dropped off a cliff this year.
It really has. Jax has also said we know Rodgers picked the same players and probably put Albrighton instead of Iheanacho. He has an Iheanacho agenda. He genuinely does. And the fact that he doesn't get played, I don't understand. But yeah, he gets put instead of Nacho. Totally agree. Rodgers says he has an injury, looks completely fine in training. Sounds like Rodgers. I don't want to be that dude, but it is. And we know that Rodgers keeps getting paid. Yeah, Ward will get played. But the thing is, for that consistency, we do need. However, if I'm looking, I'm going, right, this isn't the guy going forward that we hoped he would be. We paid a lot of money for him. We paid as much for Hit Ward, I think, as Wout Fass.
Yeah. And that's the thing when you play those kind of transfer fees for players, some of them are going to turn out to be gems, some of them are going to turn out to be Danny Ward.
And that's the thing. Yeah, I don't really have a comeback to that. That was really good. Because again, we've had some, and scouting system wise, I think we got under Puel. Ward came in and he did all right for games, but just can't get a look in. But
the thing is, he did well in games, but he never played in league games. He always played in cup games against championship teams, like the majority of the time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think with this position as well, in terms of the formation, obviously 4-2-3-1, somebody says, but for whatever you want to say it, I think what it does, it gives Castagna this room down this side, and then Iheanacho moves into the middle. Because Iheanacho, I think Castagna's been getting in some good positions from the outside. I think against Crystal Palace, he was getting in some good attacking positions down this side. He just needed, it was just that final pass, final ball, it just wasn't quite clicking.
Yeah. I talked about this on my roundup show on my channel that Castagna is getting some good spaces, but whilst Iheanacho plays as this inverted right winger, whilst Madison plays as this inverted right winger, he has no one to actually link up with on that right wing. So, yes, it gets the best out of Madison, and you get really good return from Madison. I'm not convinced it's the best for the team. I think it's best for James Madison in terms of his output, but in terms of a team, I think we lose a lot of balance from not having a right winger.
I think so. And I think what was his name? The guy from PSV, Maduke. I think he's been a target that we've looked at for a while. However, he's just not. He's not hit that same level for. He just hasn't hit the same level. And also, has been injured, and I think that's the player that we wanted to go and get, and he would have been great, but it's not happening, is it?
Someone else would have been great, who's been playing on the right wing, who's been absolutely smashing it, is Ademola Lookman. He's been playing.
I knew you were going to say that.
He's been playing on as a right winger this season. Absolutely smashed it, and by far would be our best winger right now. But you're not allowed to say that.
No, you are.
But figures you say it and then you get slated. But it's just
from who? I don't think you get slated from Leicester fans.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. I think I find it like I know there'll be the money reasons and all of that, but for 13 million, I think that is an absolute opportunity missed.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I know there's financial issues, but we've missed quite a sitter there. In terms of, again, what we're coming, I think there's anything else really to talk about in terms of Leicester, but I'm just hoping we're putting a decent half performance in. But if we have 40, because Leeds go from minute 1 and they go, right, we're going to try and dominate the team. If we have 10 minutes and they're just all over us, I think the crowd turns, even if we're 0-0.
I think so. It's unfortunately the way it is at the moment. And I think the problem that we've got is I don't think a good performance and no results good enough. I'd rather a poor performance and we scrape a 1-0. We need points on the board.
Don't know if my camera's frozen or if I'm lagging out a little bit.
You look all right on mine, mate.
Okay, I think my laptop's not in the best state. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think in terms of Leeds, they've still got some good players. Obviously, they lost Calvin Phillips recently. I think he's out. He's obviously, but Aronson looks decent. I don't really know too much about Leeds, but Sinistera looks decent. I don't know if you watched too much of them, but as you were saying, against Arsenal, considering how good Arsenal were, and we saw again they had a bit of a bad day at the office. And they still got the win, but they were all over them for parts of the game.
For large parts of the game as well. It's not as if it was just a little spell. For large parts of the game, Arsenal were on the back foot. Leeds missed a penalty. Leeds should have had a goal that wasn't disallowed. They're not a bad side by any means.
They aren't, and they're a good side playing some good football, and they're about. But where we are again, I'll try and bring up the table. Where they are in terms of the table, they are in a similar position to us, and they as they should be in terms of they would be fighting down the bottom. But what we just need them extra little points just to get us in the right direction, because if we keep playing like this again, granted at the moment Forest are drawing, so we are bottom of the table. It would help us close this gap because, again, Leeds, bearing in mind, have 9. We're on 10, so they've still got a game in hand as well.
To me, if I'm completely honest, it's irrelevant what other teams are doing at the moment. We just need to win.
I guess so. But because we've got Wolves, we've got Leeds, maybe Aston Villa, if that's reorganised, we've got these teams around our positions, and that would all points would basically. I want to be cliche and say a 6-pointer, but it would feel like a 6-pointer.
It would. We've got Everton and West Ham as a few of our next games as well. So
yeah, before the World Cup break, yeah. So we play all of them. So if we lose to all of them, it's looking really sticky.
It is. It really is. And like we're 10 games in with 1 win, so it's not good reading. But a couple of wins, we might be looking at this differently. But we've been saying that for about the last year, yeah. So I don't know. I really don't know.
We don't know. Again, so what do you think the crowd reaction will be from? Again, it was different. Obviously, it was a little bit toxic, a little bit onside, just a bit bored. I think in general against Crystal Palace. What do you think the fan reaction be to this one?
Well, I think for the start, the fans were right behind the team, if I'm honest, against Palace. But it faded towards the end of the game, and then I've never heard singing at home as loud of "We want Rodgers out" as I did against Palace. I've heard it a lot at away games, but never that strongly at home, which was really interesting to see. But I think it would be similar against Leeds, but it would start with it will be right behind the team. But if the team don't give the crowd anything to get behind, then it will start to turn toxic.
Yeah, and there was a few things, especially like Fass's tackle, a few of them, Daniel Amati, I think a couple of tackles. The fans were, yes, come on, we're interested in this now. We want to get behind. There was a few times, I think the head defending corners, we weren't brilliant at it, but the fact that we just we didn't. I don't think we won the first ball, but the ball just got out. I think we won the first ball from defending them, but we didn't win them from attacking them. But little things like that we just need to make sure. Again, I don't think the Leicester fans are hard to please.
No, work hard and just don't roll over. And then the standards aren't exactly high.
They're not. But considering, it's what we are. I mean, just having a look at the fixtures now in terms of obviously after this game as well. In that we do have, again, it will be coming up to half. We would have played half the teams by then. So again, the Aston Villa games being rearranged, the new Leeds games obviously coming up soon. Wolves, Man City. Then we've got Everton, then Newport, and then West Ham away.
It's not long, is it? It's not long till we break.
No, it's not. I thought it was a lot longer. But after that, then there's the month and a half. And then we come back for the next couple of games against Newcastle and Liverpool. But there's only 7-8 games, so it's not a lot.
No, you've got Newport in there as well, haven't you, in the cup? So
which is a Tuesday night, yeah. So it gets a bit sticky from here on out. Anyway, final thoughts before we finish, because
win, great. Lose, we're in exactly the same position and nothing changes.
Yeah. If you enjoy the stream, like and subscribe. Hopefully we can get a win. I'm just looking for some points somewhere. Thanks, guys. See you later. Goodbye.